Happening tonight at 6, we are learning how a small community is keeping the memory of one firefighter alive in a big way.
Now the Morrill Fire Department is honoring the life of Andrew Cross. And an issue across the state as many cities and towns are struggling to keep leadership staff's positions rolled.
We are looking into the concerning trend as more local administrators walk off the job. Plus,
everyone profits from a clean river, and that's what we're trying to do.
Water quality concerns in the Androscoggin River prompting a new lawsuit against state and federal agencies. Members of a conservation group explain the concern. Good evening and thanks for being with us. I'm Amanda Hill.
I'm Brian Yacona. I want to get right to your forecast with Alan Holt, who is in for Ryan Breton today. This is just the start of quite a week.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty hot. It's going to remind me of Texas later on this week. Today, pretty nice, though, 70s and 80s for most of the state. We do have a little shower in central Piscataquis County. We're not expecting much tonight. It will be a pretty docile evening, 70s and low 80s right now. The dew point is coming up, and this is the beginning of what will become a rather tropical feel for Maine. In the low 60s right now near the coast, 50s away from the coast. But that dew point coming up will keep temperatures sustained into the lower 60s, if not upper 50s overnight, with a few passing clouds, but a somewhat mild evening ahead of us. Tomorrow, more warmth, more 80s on the map. A little bit cooler at the immediate coast, but check out what's coming our way. A lot of heat, a storm chance into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and mid-90s Thursday and Friday. More on the heat here in a few minutes.
U.S. Senator Susan Collins is responding to corruption allegations from her opponent this November. Last week, we told you Democrat Graham Plattner alleged Collins enriched herself while in office through stock purchases and steered tens of millions of dollars in federal contracts to her husband's old firm in the 2010s. Collins says she's never owned or traded any stocks during her 30 years in office and adheres to the highest ethical standards.
These are just totally false allegations, and he is levying them in the hope that by lying about my character, he will divert attention from his own egregious misconduct. There are many, many differences, starting with I've never had a Nazi tattoo.
Over the weekend, she said Plattner's attacks are, quote, not going to fool the people of Maine.
In the weeks now since the explosion at the Robbins Lumber Mill in Searsmont, some firefighters are still recovering from their injuries, and the mourning process is just beginning for two families. The Morrill Fire Department is also grieving the loss of volunteer fireman Andrew Cross. But our Sam Olson is here tonight with a look at what is helping to lift their spirits. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Brian. Morrill firefighters are finding ways to carry on, but they have constant reminders of Andrew throughout the fire station. The most supportive messages arrive a stack at a time.
These are all the letters: Colorado, Arizona.
Letters arriving from across the country.
We have a lot like this. There's just a note from different departments.
Departments sending their condolences and well wishes.
Well, it feels good because, you know, we're obviously a small town in Maine and not everybody knows much about us here.
And these are only half of the well wishes. Morrill Fire Chief Dean Rowland says the other half went to Andrew Cross's family.
A lot of them.
Rowland says all fire departments, regardless of their size, share the unifying common thread to protect the community.
Someone from a small town of less than 1,000 can talk to somebody from Boston or New York or Chicago, a firefighter, and you can still speak the same language.
A language, in this case, written in notes.
You know, it's an encouragement, which is what it was meant to be. We have to continue with our jobs and our families and our responsibilities within the fire department themselves.
And around every corner, there are new additions that will keep Andrew's memory alive.
It's something to remember Andrew by, that show that we still remember him and his service here.
Chief Rowlands also tells me the Cross family and Searsmont Chief Wayne Woodbury's family have a unique connection. Woodbury and Cross's father used to ride together to work at Bath Iron Works for a number of years. Rowlands also says Cross's mother helped take care of Woodbury's late wife when she became sick. In the studio, Sam Olson, News Center Maine.
The man convicted of killing a woman he lived with several years ago will now spend nearly 50 years in prison. Today, a judge sentenced Eric Knight, who was arrested in 2024 for the murder of Benita Preo. She died in November of the previous year at the couple's home in Bridgeton. That's according to state police. Following today's sentencing, we spoke to one of her daughters.
She's up there in heaven now, dancing and doing a jig. So everything came out the way we wanted it to. It's now behind us. It's now over. We all can breathe and move on. We'll try to move on anyway.
Knight had pleaded not guilty to the charges back in 2024.
Today, a man from South Carolina admitted he robbed a bank in Westbrook and then attempted to flee to New Hampshire. The U.S. Department of Justice says Jean-Pierre Gendron faces 20 years in prison. Court records say last summer he handed a teller a note demanding money and was able to take more than $6,000. Police say they arrested Gendron after he exited a bus in Londonderry, New Hampshire. In addition to the potential prison sentence, he also faces a $250,000 fine.
6 minors are under arrest following an investigation into storage unit and vehicle thefts in Bingham. The Somerset County Sheriff's Office says the suspects, who range from 10 to 15 years old, are accused of taking items like a handgun, sneakers, wallets, and more. In all, 13 units and 6 vehicles were broken into between June 20th and the 21st, investigators say. We're told 2 of the suspects will not face charges because they are under 12 years old. The city of Lewiston is continuing its conversation about youth violence this week.
Tomorrow, city councilors there are meeting at Lewiston High School with members of the public invited to share their thoughts. Earlier this month, dozens of people told leaders there they were worried about a growing issue of youth gun violence. It's after several teenagers were arrested and charged with criminal conspiracy to commit murder. Tomorrow's meeting starts at 6 o'clock.